Yeah, yeah, this is KP4MD. That was a real nice picture. And this is the SSTV Net. I got a big tangle of wires over here, but YouTube is going already. If anybody wants to take over the net control, they're welcome to. I'm all tangled up here in wires.
Sorry, I didn't mean to send that right. Oh, hold on. Turn the radio down in the background. Didn't mean to send that right, right at 9 o'clock. I thought I sent it Robot 36. Oh, anyways. Yeah, no net control tonight.
Well, Jen is watching, and she's having her dinner right now. And I just got in a short time ago, also from the Girl Scouts. It was nice seeing you down there, and I just have a real mess here. I can't really start right at the moment, although the YouTube is rolling and we're already streaming. I see 3 people are already logged on to YouTube.
Okay, I guess I probably should have saved that net script. Sitting here trying to find it on the web page.
Scale 7HQ1. I don't have the script right in front of me right now, so I'll just ad lib and see what we can do. I'm having all kinds of problems with my equipment here as myself, and I don't have YouTube tuned in, so I'll give it a try. If that's okay. Anybody else has the script and want to do net control? Otherwise, I will jump in. I guess not. This is KO7HQR acting net control for the River City SSTV Net on Wednesday night. This net is, the purpose of the net is to provide training and transmission of videos, and it is open to all radio amateurs. Have no script, so let's go. If anybody else is ready to log in for the net tonight, please go ahead.
KO6KL, Brad and Salida. N6YG, George and Lincoln.
Okay, I shouldn't have asked for that before I had the paper to write it down. I got somebody in Salinas. Please come back.
Good evening. Kilo Oscar 6, Kilo Lima, Brad in Salida.
Okay, Brad, got you. Okay, Oscar 6, Kilo Oscar 6, Kilo Lima, and N6 Young Golf. George, got you. Anybody else?
Alpha India 6, Delta Golf, Joel in Florin.
Okay, Joel, thank you very much. Alpha India 6, Delta Golf. Anybody else?
Yeah, this is Kilo Papa 4, Mike Delta Carol, and set your side.
Okay, November 6, Papa Golf, Quebec, Bob. And I think there was one more person. Please go ahead.
November 6, Whiskey Lima, Mike, Bill in Roseville.
Okay, Bill, got you. November 6, Whiskey Lima, Mike. And I know we have KP4ME, also Carol, and she is tangled up in wires and taking care of our YouTube. And I'll check myself in, KL7HQR, Neil in Tentalop. Anybody else? K7, that's pretty good. Let's see if we can get this going. And while you guys transmit, I'm going to try to see if I can find a way to get a picture to be accepted on my system here. So Brad, Kilo Oscar 6, Kilo Lima, you were the first one to sign in. Are you ready to send a picture, sir?
Always. I'm running 15 watts here. Is this enough for getting into the machine?
Yes, the audio is okay. It's a little low, but very intelligible. I don't think we have a problem. Give it a try.
Well, you know, KO6KL, it'll be a fast one.
Brad, you came through okay. I had a good copy. And let's see if what the opinions are. AI6DG, Joe, how did you copy that picture?
The SSTV looking up that mode. I'd not heard that one before. It came across quite well. Let me open this up again. So we're looking at a drawing, animated something or another, of a guy in a sofa chair, lazy boy type of chair, although it's not laid back, but it looks comfortable. He's got a floor stand ashtray next to him and a pipe with smoke coming out of it in his mouth, and he's sitting under a nice floor lamp as he's watching an old style TV with, I don't know, it could be Al Jolson for all I know on the screen. And it's old style with all the fancy wood construction. Looks like a piece of furniture rather than TV. Obviously CRT. And interestingly enough, there's a cord coming out of the front of it, and it goes to a remote control in his hand, sitting on his leg. So he's all comfy and set in for the night to watch whatever he's watching and enjoying his smoke. Back to net, AI6DG.
Fantastic description as always, Joe. Thank you very much. Bill, W6 Whiskey Lima Mike.
This is November 6 Whiskey Lima Mike. Yeah, a similar copy to what Joel said. A few pixel pops, very colorful photo. Pretty clear on my side. I don't have much to add other than what he said already. Yeah, this looks like a very old TV and a gentleman smoking, enjoying some kind of show. I can't tell what it is exactly. Looks like a guy holding a coat on the television. So, yeah, and he has also an interesting lamp with people dancing on it. So this is very interesting. So I'm wondering what this is from. N6NA, back to that.
Very good, Bill. And you caught a few details that Joe misses. He doesn't miss too many. Carol, if you can, KB4MD, could you copy the picture?
Yes, this is KP4MD, and it's showing on YouTube what I copied. I maybe about a dozen little pixel pops here and there, and exactly the same thing. It looks like a cartoon type of drawing of a gentleman smoking a pipe, sitting in a comfy chair with a little floor lamp standing behind him with, see what's on that. There's the design of a couple of people dancing on the lampshade, and the TV is an old console, a wooden console, with a black and white TV, and it looks like he has something in his hand, like I don't know if that's a mouse or a remote control with a cord that's going into that cabinet there. That must be something more modern there below the TV there. That's I'm not exactly sure what that would be. Anyway, operator Brad and Salida KO6KL DE KO6KL. And by the way, for Brad, the FCC sequential call signs being assigned now are already into Kilo Oscar 6. So they're catching up with you there, Brad. And Salida, yeah, I heard a joke from while we were in Pacificon. I was talking with the CEO. His name is Dave Minster, CEO of ARL, and he was saying that he used to work down in Puerto Rico at one of the plants down. Well, he would go down there every 2 weeks to one of the plants that were manufacturing plants, and a co-worker of his wanted directions to get to the plant off of the freeway in Puerto Rico, and Dave told him to take the Salida exit, which was really a joke because all the exits there are labeled Salida, because the word salida actually means exit in Spanish. So that was a joke. Anyway, back to net, KP4MD.
Thank you, Carol. And by the way, your audio is very good today. Normally when you're doing the YouTube, The audio is very good on YouTube, but it suffers a little bit here. And this time it's very clear, very, very good. Very well. So let's go back to Brad. Tell us a little bit about the picture you just sent, sir.
Hello to Carol and the net, KO6KL. It's just some retro art. I think it was from like one of those popular science magazines of how the future will be, and it's a wired remote, so the poor guy doesn't have to get up to adjust his TV or radio. And I kind of don't take this the wrong way, guys, but I don't understand why you spend so much time describing what you're seeing there when we could just incorporate what we saw in the next outgoing picture, which is the way we usually do it on shortwave. So we're all getting pretty much the same picture because of the repeater. So it's kind of fun if it's an interesting picture, but I guess I just don't have the right kind of pictures for that. But I'd rather send more pictures than the talking, just my opinion. KO6KL, back to that.
KL7HQR is not control. Yeah, the protocol that we've had here forever has been a little bit of a comment because a lot of the pictures that we send are questionable. They don't know, you don't know if the person can interpret the picture and see what it is or where it is or why it is. So we developed the protocol having a little bit more of a description. I understand what you're saying about sending more pictures, but maybe the best would be halfway in between the two of them. So let's go to George, November 6th, Yankee Golf. Your turn, sir. KL7HQR.
I've got a picture lined up, and I will make the comment that we used to just kind of describe any artifacting or technical aspects of the picture, like in this picture that he just sent. I'm noticing some echoing in the very leading edge of the picture. If you look on, you have to enlarge it to see it on the left-hand side of it. It's like some sort of audio echoing. I don't know if it's on or if it was in the transmit side. I've noticed that with the MR mode sometimes. Might have something to do with going through the repeater. The MR modes seem really good on simplex, and the MR and the MP modes seem really good on simplex. But going through the repeater, they get some artifacting. All right, I am queued up for a picture. Let me close that one down. And I'm going to send this here real quick. N6YG. This is going to be PD120. Normally I would have sent it MP140, but we'll do PD120 tonight. N6YG. See if I have tone first. Was there a tone?
Very good tone, no problem.
Yeah, it took me 20 minutes when I got home to get this radio set up on for MMSTV, because I have 3 radios in front of me and I've had them all. I had another one configured, so I had to get this one configured, and the program just was not cooperating to get it to key up. All right, here goes.
copy here as well, and let's go to Bob, N6PGQ from KL7HQR.
Well, I thought I had a whole bunch of boat anchors and stuff. This is somebody's shack that I think is great. You've got an operating position on the left side, the large monitor on the top. Looks like maybe forward and reflected, or an amplifier with a forward and reflected window in it. Monitor also on the desk. Good looking shack. There's the ubiquitous ID that went across in the middle, about 2/3 down. And the only thing I wish was that it was a little more in focus so I could recognize all the stuff that's on the back right wall. Interesting picture. There's scope in the very left front corner. Computer monitor on the desk on the right bottom. Interesting. I'm going to be interested to hear the story. N6PGQ.
Roger, scale 7HQR. Yeah, it's quite impressive combination of devices there. It looks like on the right-hand side I can see some old TR3 Drakes, TR3s that I was very familiar with during the 70s, and it looks more like one of the 1970s shelf of HRO. I don't know what it is. That is very, very impressive. So, George, your turn. What is this? I hope this is, maybe it's your current check. N6YG KL7HQR for the net.
I'm desperately looking through my notes. I saved that picture. That was a radio station I had worked. And I pulled it up as QRZ web page and saw that and was like, oh my God. Man, next time my wife complains about my ham radio equipment, I'm just going to show her this picture. Say, listen, it could be worse.
Or it could be better. It depends on how you look at it. Very well. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Well, Joel, it's your turn. AI6DG. Please go ahead.
I just tried to do a tone and it said couldn't find any sound card. Hang on just a moment.
KO6KL.
KL6KL, go ahead.
Comment. A chance to pass this on, but a couple of sessions back when we were doing this, I figured out that I got a lot better pictures and remove some of the herringbone kind of pattern that I was getting by running my audio low-cut filter. Feel free to lose the last 500 hertz of the audio spectrum for the PL tone. It tends to give a little bit of an artifact, I think. Absolutely. I have audio DSP as well, and I notice if I cut out the bottom, 300-400 hertz, it comes out much better. I was going to mention I found the picture. And that last picture I sent, the station is Whiskey Zero November Delta in North Dakota. If you want to look up his QRZ web page, and you'll see the picture I copied to send. So N6YG, I think I worked him on 10 meters just earlier today.
6YG and Kilo Oscar 6 Kilo Lima. Thanks, appreciate those. This whole purpose of this thing here is to try to learn, and any tidbits that you guys can teach us newcomers on SSTV, that really helps. Joe, AI6DG, are you ready? Yes, we do have a tone.
PD120.
KL7HQR for the N6NA slow-scan television net. Good copy here without any problem, Joel. Brad, Kilo Oscar 6 Kilo Lima, your comments, please.
Got a good copy, and looks like a circuit board, maybe a receiver, microwave receiver.
Okay, let's go to Bill, N6 Whiskey Lima Mike.
Yeah, it does look like some type of receiver. I see three prominent wires going from the board to the back to maybe be some kind of, I don't know if that's actually, you wouldn't have a run that long for an antenna, so I'm not sure what that is. In the top right, there's a silver tube that looks like some kind of filter. I've seen those in older radios, but this doesn't seem that vintage. The chips kind of look like 80s, maybe. There's two capacitors in the top corner, bluish color, very large. The black box in the middle there. And there's a lot of discrete chips on the bottom. So I'm not sure exactly what this could be. There's not a lot of hints, but there's quite a few traces in the middle, so it's really interesting how those traces are laid out and the giant ground plane that goes with it. So I'm wondering what this could be. Anyways, good copy here. Actually, like maybe just 2 pixel pops or so. Looks great. N6WLM back to that.
6WLM KL7HQR for the net. Thank you, Bill. I was impressed by the amount of traces, and of course the ground plane. It's probably a multi-layer board, at least 2 sides, because all the distinct components are located in one specific area. Then I noticed that I can recognize some of the parts which I cannot in the modern surface mount situation. So interested in knowing what is going on. I6DG, Joe, what kind of a piece of equipment you took apart for this picture?
Actually, that's a good comment. I just realized there are no surface mounts on this, so that's a good indication of its age. This is my big haul from Pacificon Swap Meet. This is an HP 5334A frequency counter. Big step up for me. The stuff I've had before was old Nixie tube analog stuff, and I guess frequency counters now don't actually count the frequency. They do a period measurement and do the reciprocal of that to determine the frequency. You've got some really cool microprocessor stuff on the lower left. Lower center is, I believe, the DACs, digital analog. That's where the waveforms actually digitalized. The right side is signal input processing and buttons. So that's what those wires that go to the back panel are, is to remote the input so that you can input something not from the front panel but also from the back panel. Upper right is power supply with the caps. The silver thing is actually the AC incoming, so that's like the filter for the AC filter. Obviously the transformer center top. And left center, a couple of neat chips. They're doing the HP IB interface. That's an instrumentation bus that HP had. So you can hook it up to computers and control it and get info in and out of. And this doesn't have the high precision oscillator in it. That'd be an separate module on the upper left. So anyway, I'm reading the manual because I got to relearn how to use a frequency counter since I haven't used anything that's even remotely modern, which makes me wonder what the new stuff looks like if a 30-year-old counter like this looks like this. But the new stuff is significantly different. Back to net, AI6DG.
AI6DG, KL7HQR. Well, thanks. Doesn't look like your normal Las Vegas or Yosemite pictures. So, and I don't think this is part of a portable rig. So, well, congratulations, and let us know how it goes with the new equipment. Well, not so new, but new for you. appreciate the transmission. Bob, N6PGQ, it's your turn, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, this is supposed to be PD 120.
KL7HQR for the net. Well, Bob, it looks like we're back to the analog pictures. This is a mechanically analog device, and it's kind of interesting. I'd like to know the background. KP4MD, Carol, how do you copy it? Any comments, please?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. I agree. It looks like a mechanical cash register, and it's reading $84 even. And interesting. I never figured out how those things worked. As far as pixel pops, maybe just about a dozen of them, but a really good, solid picture. I don't see any tearing or any slant at all on that. Back to you, it's KP for MD.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let's go to George, N6YG.
Well, it came over good. Actually, the last little quarter bit did. Most of the picture came over with a lot of ringing in it. I think that has to do with the input level. I made some adjustments in there. Yeah, it all looks like an old cash register. So back to net, N6YG.
Scale 7H. Thank you, George. Carol said $84 even. I seem to see, I have expanded my picture here. It looks like I see a white, black 8 on a white field, a white 4, and it looks like there is a 5 in between the dollars and cents, which I don't quite understand the reading in there. Back to you, Bob. Please explain what's going on.
Okay, we're back. This is N6PGQ, and the total at the top is 04.00, and I don't know if it came through real clearly, but yes, this is an old cash register, and you can reset it by using the unlocking window that's next to the cents buttons that are there, and this is free to a good home if someone wants it. N6PGQ.
I wonder what the A, B, C, D, and E they do on the side.
Oh, well, that allows the checker or person running the cash register to tell what department the product is sold from. So it could be like, produce and meats and dairy, things like that. You would have a list that the checker would know and enter in, so it could keep a running total of the sales for each of your departments. N6PGQ.
Thank you, Bob. Any idea on what time, what year this is, era this is representing?
Oh, I'm guessing probably early 50s, maybe. That's my guess. I don't know. We could look at the patent plate that's probably on the back side of it, which I never have.
Well, thank you. You certainly have some very interesting items and make for some very interesting pictures. Thank you so much, Bob. Okay, Bill, N6WLM, it's your turn, sir.
This is November 6th Whiskey Lima Mike, Bill, and Russo, and this is going to be two semi-related but unrelated photos side-by-side, PD 120. Let me do a quick tone.
Good tone. N6WLM from KL7HQR. Thank you so much. Beginning to see that's my level of electronics. Okay, I see capacitors that look like capacitors and not like flimsy imitations that we have today. And also, I can get my equipment to that condition, and then I have to hire somebody else to put it back together. So let's see, Brad, your comments, please.
Coming through really good. Repeater's only about 7 S7 tonight here on the big antenna. It's just barely audible on the one on the roof. But looks good. Good pictures, guys. I'm gonna bow out. I'll leave the webcam on though. Good evening, everyone. KO6KL.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you showing up. Step by anytime you can. I appreciate your company. Joel, your turn.
Can I?
Okay, left side, a taken apart handy talkie, an empty case, properly the main circuit board, and then above that the display board with the buttons on it. To the right on the lower half we've got an amplifier. I see the two final transistors and transformers on the board next to them, and above that a mess of wires, maybe a step attenuator or a RF tap, and behind that a very small screen of what looks like a spectrum analyzer display. So I'm assuming we're testing the output of some transmitter, and the question is what and did it pass, and are you trying to tweak it to make it pass? N6NA AI6TG.
Thank you, Joel. Well, you can identify a lot more than I can. Let's see. Carol, do you have any comments?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. I agree that power amplifier on the right side looks like probably an older one from the style of components that are in there. The mica trimmer capacitors are not very common anymore. I'm thinking that yeah, I see the two relays in the top of the towards the back of the chassis there, which are probably antenna switching relays for this amplifier. Wondering if this is a UHF because it looks like it has some traces on there which are inductors. Oh, there's one that's right in front of the left relay. The spectrum analyzer, I'm going to guess that looks like a tiny SA, and you could see on the input connector, looks like there is an attenuator connected on that little SMA connector on the lower left hand side, and that pattern that you see on the tiny SA is typical of a square wave, where you see the fundamental and then the odd harmonics are pretty all high. The even harmonics are much lower, but that kind of pattern you would normally see with a square wave. So back to you. This is Kilo Papa for Mike Delta.
KO7HQR. Again, I say I learned a lot from you guys because I look and I see a picture, and then you guys explain the picture. It's just like going to one of those big museums with the old paintings, and you look at it, and oh, it's a nice landscape, and then somebody with some knowledge comes by and explains what's there, and it has a completely different meaning. Appreciate that. So back to you, Bill. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you guys are exactly right. So the right-hand side is a Palomar Engineers TX100 amplifier, which I can't find a manual for, but they claim it's all of HF. 10 meters past fine, but on the screen there is me testing 20 meters, and that sawtooth is a big fail. So yeah, it did not pass on anything other than 10 meters. I think if I built some low-pass filters, I could probably get this thing on the air as a nice little amplifier. I was feeding it with a true SDX, and I think that's why it looked worse. I ended up plugging in after I verified it wouldn't blow up my transmitter, my 7300, and it looked a little better, but it still was not passing by any means. Joel and Carol are right. That's a RF tap in the right-hand corner there, and that goes. It's like 40 dB of attenuation. It's good for 100. It's good for pretty much legal limit. That's a 40 dB of attenuation, and then on my tiny SA I have a 40 dB attenuator that's good for 10 watts. So between the two of them, I could test amplifiers up to almost a UHF, but the RF tap's not good for UHF. The left-hand side is the real winner. That is an FT3DR that I picked up at the Hamfest for Pacificon. And it was in a bag. It was in a plastic bag with parts falling out. And I was like, what's wrong with this thing? And yeah, the owner, previous owner, the microphone, the headphone jack got ripped off the board. So without that headphone jack, it's actually completely deaf. So a small jumper cable and fixing the toroids. All the toroids on the board, they're air wound. They were all crushed. So I fixed it and actually got it working. So that's a nice little radio. I always like the flea markets for projects like this. So I got both of these items at the flea market, and Pacific Dawn was a fun time overall. N6WLM back to N.
N6WLM. Thank you, Bill. And congratulations on getting some life back into these old items and make them sing again. That's pretty good. Carol, it's your turn. If you have a picture, please go ahead.
Hey Roger, this is going to be PD120.
Scale 795 for the N6NA. Thank you, Carol. Good picture, a few pops here and there, but very good picture. Let's go to George, N6YG. Your comment, sir.
Well, that's Carolyn. I'm taking a W1AW. So, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to work you when you were there last. I kind of spaced that, but yep, good picture. It came over good. I really don't have much to add other than that, so we'll send it back to net. N6YG.
Very well. Bob, N6BGQ.
Well, the picture came through really well. The idea was, again, that about two-thirds of the way down the screen. It looks to me, and I may be wrong, that Carol is in front of a series of transmitters that are covered with glass, because you can see a reflection over her left shoulder, and looks like some pretty nice commercial gear there. Patch panels over her right shoulder, probably to select radios and antennas. And there's Carol with her League lanyard on. So I'm going to be interested to hear what's behind her, N6PGQ.
Thank you, Bob. And before I pass it to Carol for final comments, I just noticed here on the screen that Whiskey Papa 2 November / Whiskey 5. Craig is on YouTube, and so is Jenny. We didn't have have the YouTube on, and I just turned it on, and appreciate you guys being there. So back to you, Carol, and if you have anything else on YouTube that I have missed, please go ahead and comment. But let us know, what about the picture?
Yes, okay, this is KP4MD. And yeah, Jen was also watching. I don't know if she's still there, but I believe she was having dinner. Yep, Craig is out there in Louisiana as well. Right now we have a total of 3 people watching right at the moment. They drop in and out. Yeah, this picture was taken inside the W1AW Hiram Percy Max Memorial Station. The equipment behind the sliding glass doors are the transmitters that they use for doing the CW, sending out the CW practice, and the bulletins. They have, you can see right by my left arm, there's 3 green Heron rotator controllers. And below those, there's an ICOM 7300. Above that, in the rack, I believe that's a power supply. All that equipment is mounted in I believe they're 6-foot tall, 19-inch racks. The what's behind my right shoulder there is exactly right. It's a patch panel that's used to connect all the different radios there with the various different antennas, and they have little jumper cables of RG8U type cable. You're just seeing a fraction of everything that's behind sliding glass doors. That extends for another a bunch of racks there. They have, besides that ICOM 7300, there's other identical equipment like that for 160, 80, 40, 20, 17, 15, and 10 meters, I believe. And below each 7300, there's an ACOM full gallon linear amplifier. There's also a 6-meter transmitter and a 2-meter transmitter. Let me drop it a moment. Okay, so I didn't when I operated, I didn't use any of that equipment. They actually have 4 visitors studios with more modern equipment. I was actually operating a Yaesu FTDX 101 MP, which is a gigantic radio with a bunch of buttons and knobs, and thankfully the chief operator set it up for me. I didn't have to touch anything. And an RF kits, I believe, I'm not sure what it's called, but there was an amplifier that has a touch screen, you know, a full color touch screen, and that was actually peaking up to around 800 watts on my voice peaks. I was using a 4-element Yagi antenna. I operated completely on 15 meters with the antenna pointed here towards the west. A couple of times I had stations calling me from Europe. Swung the beam around to hear them a little bit better, then I went right back to the west. And so I operated 2 solid hours sideband, made several dozen contacts, and then the last 30 minutes I switched over to CW and worked a few contacts there. It was very enjoyable, very comfortable, and it was fun working a pile up there with the call Whiskey 1 Alpha Whiskey. So back to Nets, KP for MD.
KL 7H2. Anybody has any question or comments for Carol? Well, thank you, Carol. It must have been quite an experience. You know, I think W1AW is a station that is well known all around the world, at least on the Western world, and it must have been very interesting to be there. So I have one picture. Let's see if it works this time. BPD 120. And I don't seem to have a connection here. I don't think I had a tone. I don't have a tone. I will have to reboot SSTV. So anybody else has another picture they would be ready to send? We're only 4 minutes left long, so in that case, it would take me a little bit to. I think I'll hold my picture to until the next week. One last time, anybody has any comments? And I would appreciate the presence of the people on the YouTube. And my apologies for doing this not without the script today. I promise I will be ready for any emergency call next time. But at least we had fun. We had a chance to make some contacts and have some interesting pictures sent. So with that in mind, we shall close the net now at 21:56. This is KL7HQR for the River City SSTV Net. We shall return next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Good night and thank you all. 73.
Comments?
Please go ahead, comment.
As terms of the format and doing a description of the picture, I think I can think of two possibilities as to why we ended up doing that. I think at one point we had blind members that joined the net, and the description details was for them to visualize the image that was being sent. And it also ends up being kind of fun when we get pictures that no one else can figure out when we get together and discuss comments or details as we're trying to figure out what it is that was sent. Back to net EI6TG.
Actually, by sending pictures of electronics, different electronics projects and whatever. I may be wrong. That was back in 2012. So.
George, I apologize. I doubled with you. Please do it again.
Oh, I said I believe it started back around 2012 when Carol and I were sending images of various electronics, circuit boards and gadgets back and forth, trying to stump everyone. So we would explain what we were seeing, which was fun to do when it was like what WL it was sending with the amplifier and things like that. And I have one last picture to send.
Okay, anybody else has any comments on what Joel said?
Yeah, this is KP4MD, actually Paul McIntyre used to check into this net, and he was blind, and he enjoyed listening to the descriptions, and that's why he asked us to continue doing that. Over.
Roger, KL7HQR. I agree, and in my opinion, I can understand what Brad said, that you could send a lot more pictures if you just make a very quick comment and move on. But I think instead of the quantity, what we do, it serves all the purpose that both of you mentioned, all three of you mentioned. But I think beyond that, it shows to show the detail with which you are receiving. It shows you can explain the quality of the resolution that you're getting. And I, for one, I enjoy the descriptions. I mainly, like Joe indicated, mainly because sometimes we send things that guess what it is. So I, for one, would appreciate moving on basically in the same format we have. But that's my opinion. Anybody, any otherwise comments?
N6PGQ.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, and we also have reduced the number of people commenting from a few months ago down to like about 2 for each picture instead of going around the whole group. And that tends to have speeded things up a little bit, N6PGQ.
All right. One thing, however, that I failed to do today is we just pick 1 or 2 or 3, but we should give the others an opportunity if anybody else has a comment, and I failed to invite that today. So, George, you said you have one more picture. Please go ahead. think that is quite appropriate. If we could have that to come in on a 30 seconds burst, I think we should put that as the last one every time. So, thank you, George. Appreciate it. KO7HQ1.
Wow, that came across great. Really strong colors, hardly any pixel pops at all. One of the best receptions I've ever had. AI6TG.
Keep that handy, George. We'll see what we can do to kind of speed that up and see what we can do. KO7HQ1. Good night, folks. 73, thank you for participating.
My Bugs Bunny. All right, guys. Take care.